Okay, let's open it. Using the APA style. There's more to documentation than MLA. Now, there are other documentation styles. There's Turabian and Chicago, but we use the APA style, as I just indicated, in the social sciences. Why do we do this? Well, the APA format is the standard reporting format for citations and references for the social sciences, and so this is just a brief overview. As I said, most of you have worked with, in your English composition or your first year composition classes, the MLA format, and so it's just a small step to go from MLA to APA. And we have several references on the site that will allow you to make the transition. The writing labs will be beneficial for helping you to understand the differences and for reading over and for reviewing your papers before they're submitted. So please avail yourself of the resources we have on the campus to do so. If you go through this, when you go through this particular lesson, you'll find that we'll give you an overview of the styles, we'll give you some references for you to check the styles, and we'll give you some information about the differences between the two, primarily the MLA and the APA. So you'll learn how to convert references from MLA to APA. And how do you learn about which style to use? I've told you. Oftentimes a professor will tell you their particular preference. If they have not, and you ask and they say any style will do, then use the style that you're most comfortable with or more comfortable with. But in this particular instance, we will use the APA style. Watch the articles. Look out for the articles that you'll be reading in the social sciences and determine which style is being used in the articles. You can find references in the O'Kelly Library. There's a quick style, APA style guide. You can use the Bedford Bibliographer, and many of you who have had freshman composition or English composition here will have access to the password you used in that class. And there are other references, and there are references at the end of each of the assignments in the course documents that will link you directly to an APA style guide. All right, your course documents. The first week you'll do a net quiz, and that net quiz has to do with getting you comfortable talking and chatting on the internet or on the web with your classmates. And the idea there is that there are rules of etiquette. Just as there are rules of etiquette in life, social and otherwise, we have rules of etiquette on the internet, and that net quiz will allow you to take a little short 10-question quiz and then read a short article about inadequate do's and don'ts. The second week you will take the plagiarism tour on the Turnitin site, and you'll have an article there to read that juxtaposes an article and then a plagiarized article, and then there are suggestions about changing the article so that it's not plagiarized. So you'll find that very beneficial. In fact, let's go there. If you go down to the bottom of this page, you will see information relevant to plagiarism. It's taken from Valdosta State University, and what the professor there has done is looked at 5 of the main sources of plagiarism and has suggested ways to write that does not include plagiarized material. And you can see switching words, copying and pasting directly, style, metaphors, and ideas. And he tells you how to, or she tells you how to use the information without plagiarizing, and has several examples of how that would work. So pay attention to those, and you won't run into the issue that Turnitin will pick up any degree of plagiarism that is found in a paper. And I have guidelines about the percentage of plagiarism in the paper that will get you a 0, and levels that will get you lower grades for relying too heavily on material that is not original material. So let's go back. That's the second assignment. Then you go into weeks 3 and 4. At this point, you will get into your introduction to the actual class, urban communities. All the preliminaries will have been completed, and we will start to talk about what is this urban communities environment about. We will use heavily the Census Bureau data in this assignment. And what I want you to see here is that we are growing as a society, as a world. And at the present moment, there are over 302 million people in the United States and 6 billion people worldwide. And we will talk about how those dynamics of population, environment, organization, and technology interact to produce what we have in our urban world today. So that's lesson number 3. As I said, that's a clustered lesson, chapters 3 and 4 together, or weeks 3 and 4 together. Then you're going to weeks 5 and 6, and we'll talk about theories of growth and how we became the urbanized world that we are. And there are classical theories of urban development, and you will see a picture here of those, but as you get into the class, you'll see even more, and you'll learn how theorists explain the massive growth that we have in the United States and the massive growth that we have worldwide. So we're doing United States urbanization and suburbanization in weeks 7 and 8. Then we'll go into the implications of inner city living, and that's the more micro level implications of inner city living. Then we'll go to globalization and urbanization and talk about some of the megacities worldwide. Megacities are those cities that have 20 million or more residents. And then we'll talk about urban change movements. Then we'll look towards the future. What is the future of cities? And that's the course. 14 weeks to 16-week course. Now, your discussion boards are very important as well. Each week you will have a discussion board, or most weeks you will have a discussion board, and you'll have the paper to write. So it's a writing, as I said, writing intensive course. You'll see the first link on the discussion board is the feedback, questions, suggestions, and complaints link. As I said, you can submit anonymously or you can submit with your name, and I will answer those questions or comments. We have a current events feature, so that if there are current events happening in the world, we have a forum for talking about those. We have suggestions about entering the discussion board and making suggestions about the comments made by your classmates. And then we get into introduce yourself to your classmates, and here's where you get to know who's in the class and a little bit about each individual.